And I think if that happened, I wouldn't come back from that. This was easier when I was on my own.
Annie.
Welcome to Decoding TV's coverage of The Boys Season 5, Episode 3. I'm David Chen here with Patrick Klepek. And I know we had originally said we're not going to cover the show week to week. We're going to try to do bonus episodes for this season of The Boys. And I had to talk about this one with you, Patrick, because something happens on this week's The Boys that is so prescient of what is happening in real life that it demands conversation. So we're going to talk about it and get into it. And also the showrunner of the show, Eric Kripke, has reacted to this in a clip that I'm going to play as well. But yeah, I guess, Patrick, before we get into it, any overall reaction to Season 5, Episode 3 of The Boys, which is entitled "Every One of You Sons of Bitches"?
I need the show to move along.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like no sense. I think you and I diverged on a bit on our thoughts on how this final season starts. I feel very little final season vibes in The Boys right now, and it feels like it's spinning its wheels before it can get to the last couple of episodes where stuff will actually happen. It's a lot of talking about things that will happen. Oh, new MacGuffin. New MacGuffin. Like, let's go chase that MacGuffin.
I would describe there as being a lot of fetch quest energy in the show, but that's been the show for years and years, right? Like,
yes.
But I think you're getting tired of it.
My patience is running thin. Anthony Starr's back, as powerful as Homelander is, can only carry Anthony Starr's quips and Soldier Boy's quips can only carry so much of this show before it actually needs to move some plot along.
Fair enough, Patrick. Yeah, I am also, I also feel like it's very obvious that we're just kind of fetch questing until we can get to the actual stakes, at least in this episode. But there are some major character moments, I would say, that happen in this episode, right? So let's talk about what actually goes on in the episode. So I'm reading here from the Wikipedia plot summary of The Boys. Vought cleans up Soldier Boy's image and he becomes a member of the Seven. Sage reveals that the first version of Compound V, V1, which Soldier Boy has, grants immortality. This prompts Homelander, after a hallucination of Madeline Stillwell, to pursue it, end quote. So in this episode of The Boys, Homelander has a hallucination of Madeline Stillwell and kind of this vision of her as this angel, and he thinks of himself as a Christ-like figure who is meant to purify and save the human race. And many people have recognized the striking similarity between this angelic image of Madeline Stillwell coming down and an AI image of Donald Trump, of himself as Jesus, that he shared on the social network Truth Social this week. And I have to say that the timing is truly incredible. I mean, just unbelievable. And in fact, Eric Kripke gave an interview to Polygon, which they posted on Instagram Reels, which I'm going to play a clip from. Here it is. This is Eric Kripke talking about Homelander's vision of himself as Jesus in the show The Boys.
Like, this is the episode where Homelander decides he's going to be God, and 48 hours before it, Trump releases an image of himself as God. I am really tired and weary of the world reflecting the show. I appreciate the marketing. I just can you just please give us a chance to put some absurd satire out there before you prove that it's more realistic than we ever intended? Like, I swear to God, even as early as a month ago when we were talking about marketing, I was like, look, Homelander saying he's God is so out there. We have to be careful about how we even introduce the idea to the public, because they'll say he's gone too far. And here we are. It's really hard. It's hard to out-satire this world, man.
You can hear his frustration. They're trying to produce a world more ridiculous than reality and failing. Patrick, any reaction to this bit of news?
Well, I think the part they're struggling with has also been an ongoing criticism I have with the show's decision to where it's pointing its satire and its desire to adopt, like MAGA hats and like direct Trump analogs is, yes, like then you're both dating yourself, and it becomes difficult to crystallize the satire because reality can get above, ahead, around, behind you. And I think it makes it, I don't know that it like is helping the show and my ability to enjoy it. Like when these things are contrasting, like it's not as though it's made a satire in hindsight of like what happened with Trump and like the MAGA movement. Like it's being done in the sheer production of it. It has to happen so far in advance. You're predicting where it went. And sure, they might have been, they might have correctly predicted where it's going or a version of it, or what they thought was an exaggerated version of it. But it is, again, it's a testament to the show that I still find it all entertaining, but I don't know that it's necessarily additive. Like what I'm seeing, like in real life is then also reflected in the show itself so directly.
So you're saying when that moment hits in real life, you're not like, oh, wow, this makes the show better in some way. You feel like it dates the show more.
It ends up dating the show. And also you can't, again, like there's no like what are we learning from this? Like what happened? It's the analog is too close that I think it ends up losing some of the show loses some hit as a result of it. And sure, it might have been chance that it synced up this closely, but they also were aiming in that direction with with purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hear that frustration in Eric Kripke as well. Again, from that clip from Paul, he's not like happy. I don't think he's like happy about it that it's like so close, right? Like I think
it undercuts the show, like in the same way that I'm articulating here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I do think it's. I agree that it undercuts the show. I'm not disagreeing on that. And also, it is remarkable and hilarious, in my opinion, that they synced up like that. Like those are true facts. Both of those things are true.
Also, Anthony Starr at least has the courage of his conviction to say, "I am God. I will be God." Whereas our own pseudo God, Donald Trump,
walked
says,
it back.
I thought. So have you? I've had this theory in my head, and now I can't shake it. This is not an original theory. I read this. I can't credit to any individual. Is that there's been a running theory that the reason, that Donald Trump doesn't really understand what it means to seek asylum, and the reason he calls those people quote crazy is because he's mapping that to like a mental asylum,
insane asylum.
Insane asylum.
Yeah.
And
I guess that's not politically correct term, but you're right.
Well, I'm saying that because I'm using the terminal. There's not. I think people understand where I'm coming from in using these terms.
Yes.
And similarly, it seems incredibly plausible based on the way Trump has talked that at some point someone said the image was doctored, and he latched onto the term doctored as though it's doctor, even though no one that would look at that image that he posted and see doctor whatsoever. And so the fact that he walked it back may have very well not understood what he was looking at and then described it differently is that is one where the boys, it's like a more competent, at least he, Anthony Starr, Homelander believes his own bullshit more than Trump does. And I can at least respect it.
I think that is all 100% accurate, and it's a very plausible explanation for how the real situation was walked back. So, yeah. Okay. Let's get back to the episode. What happens this episode? The boys, with Stan Edgar's help, locate a base where V1 may be located. By the way, it was nice that, they used Stan Edgar's base from Gen V, right? So they could just, they built that set. Why not use it again?
Great.
Here's a question. Where's Marie Moreau, dude?
Don't get me started on Gen V is so important, and now these characters are just not even here.
Where is the mind control girl? These are extremely powerful people that could help you with your quest right now.
Oh, the character that was built up in Gen V season 2 was this one can kill Homelander. We're just going to conveniently forget that until the virus doesn't work out, and we have to. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. Weird.
Gen V should have stayed in its own goddamn lane and been a show about this world and what it's like to be a college student and not part of the boys. And they kind of ruined that show in chasing that.
100% agree. Anyway, Butcher finds Ryan and gets Ryan to agree that he will kill Homelander with a virus, even though it will kill both Butcher and Ryan in the process. And by the way, let's talk a little bit about this, right? With what happens with Ryan this episode. So, I think what we're seeing, Patrick, is we just finished talking about The Pit and how that show handles Dr. Robbie this season. I think the show is kind of leaving it all on the field with Butcher, like making Butcher into a completely irredeemable character this season is what it is, right? Like, I don't know what I don't know what the broader meta point is going to be with that, but what is certainly we can certainly see in terms of the steps along the way is like this show is making Butcher irredeemable, and the way he treats Ryan and kind of drives Ryan away and into getting his head caved in by Homelander, and the way he kills his own dad, it's just like I think, right, if I'm to guess, if the show is trying to say anything coherent at all, it's that the brutality that, like Butcher's brutality is completely devoid of any humanity whatsoever. Like his going up against, he has lost his humanity in order to go up against Homelander, and that is the bad way, and that Huey, whatever way Huey's doing it, is the good way, and that Butcher and Huey used to kind of, you could see them kind of like roughly being on the same side, but now like they must diverge because of this. So that's my take on it. Like Butcher is just so reprehensible this season so far. Any thoughts, Patrick Klepek?
Well, it's another sort of issue I have with the season is Ryan is a central figure of the previous season. Like the dynamic between him and Homelander, his father, is like seems like this is going to be a core. It may still be a core component, but like we open season 5 with where's Ryan? Gone, like just off screen
in Russia somewhere, Yeah.
Okay, and then just shows up, like they really spent a lot of time, I think, over the course of the show, spending real time with his characters, relation with Butcher, his relationship with Homelander, his relationship with his mother, and developing into a pretty decent character that I had a rooting interest in seeing how their story played out. And in season 5, sort of feels now it's just like just a plot device, like a chess piece to be sort of moved around. It doesn't make what happens to him and the encounter with Homelander any less like upsetting and traumatic. Like in the scene where Homelander is punching over and over became one of the central, if you watch any of the marketing for the final season, was one of the premier sort of like, you didn't see who he was punching, but I wouldn't have, if you'd asked me to bet odds, like I wouldn't have bet that it was going to be his son that he was punching, which that's a good use of marketing to like know that something horrible is happening and then be surprised by the outcome nonetheless. But like they are, I think it's not just exclusively that Butcher has lost all his humanity. I do think they've tried to do some counterbalancing with, Starlight is also like, well, so yeah, he's bad. Might have a point though. Might have a point. There's a lot of like might have a point with this person they sort of vehemently disagree with. And that seems to be one of the central tensions of this final season is essentially over like a time period the show just skips over, right? Like they go to the internment camps. They're rescued almost immediately in terms of the show that we're watching. But over that time, like she is deeply traumatized by being part of the resistance. We don't get to see any of that trauma. We just sort of encounter the character as they're working through it. And as a result, she finds herself aligning or at least understanding Butcher's perspective.
Interesting. So that's a little bit of a different take than mine, which is totally cool. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like my sympathy for Butcher is at an all-time low, at pretty much zero right now. So, and I don't think, for the record, I don't think Starlight's handling the situation super great either. Anyway, Zoe Newman meets Samir, her father, and they flee, destroying the virus as they do. We learn that Butcher lied to Samir, which explains how he was able to get Samir to work on the virus at all, given that he had murdered Samir's wife. Anyway, the Deep, Cindy, Dognot, and Black Noir 2 arrive at Edgar's bunker. Noir captures Edgar, but Deep betrays him and takes Edgar himself. Maverick, who works with Edgar, confronts Huey after learning he killed his father, Translucent. In the fight, Cindy kills Maverick and Annie kills Cindy. Without the virus, Ryan confronts Homelander about raping Becca, leading to a violent fight that leaves Ryan badly injured. The boys plan to find the V1 as Annie leaves them. Deep takes Edgar to Homelander and Butcher finds the wounded Ryan, end quote. Now, so that was a lot of stuff. You know, I have to say I was confused as to why Cindy killed Maverick instead of Huey. Was that like an accident? You know what I mean? Like the exploded Maverick. That was not clear to me at all. Anyway, also another open question is like, what is going on with Noir too? Because remember, Noir had been replaced with an actor Noir, and but now the new Noir doesn't talk at all. So like, I think there's probably a reveal coming of what's going on with this Noir and like why that Noir is not talking. So that's a thing that has yet to hit as well, I think. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's a big fight, and I do like that Huey needs to deal with his crimes of the past, like as a concept. I don't know that it played out in a super satisfying way, you know, but you know, Deep tells Maverick about like Huey killed his dad, and Maverick does confront him, but like, I don't know. I don't know that I found it super satisfying the way that resolved. What did you think, Patrick?
Translucent's death happens in the first season of this show.
Yes.
I don't remember anything about that. And the show tries to catch you up briefly.
Right, in the previously on.
In the previously on. I was like, oh, right. I vaguely remember that. David, that was 2019. It was so long ago. And to use, like, the idea of Huey being this anchor as a reminder, like, it is still possible, despite how dark everything has gotten. Like, I think there's there's a good line in the episode, like, it's not about stopping things from making worse. You know, sometimes it's going to be about also making things better. Like that's Huey frequently represents like that perspective in the show. Is like not fleeing, standing your ground, and still like standing on your morals and ethics and trying to make this world a better place. And so I think that's a totally that's a very Huey arc, and like maybe that means he meets a tragic end in the show at some point as we reach the end of The Boys that would fit very neatly with the journey that this character has been on. But like trying to wrestle an emotion out of me from a character death that I cannot I barely remember from the show. I feel like I like the idea, right, but it felt like it was glommed in to where the plot was. Because the further we get into this season, the less room we're going to have to do stuff like this. So I like the idea, don't like the execution.
Yeah.
You know, it's made up for with, like, as The Boys often does, some spectacularly gory moments. Like, it's the invisible fight scene is really fun to
fighting
watch.
An invisible guy, that was, like, really well done, I thought. Yeah.
You know, they do a good fake out with, you know, one of the bodies exploding. It's like, oh, shit, okay. Well, for a second, I was like, "Wow, we're gonna kill Huey off this early? That's just no, not gonna do that." So I like, you know, Huey's probably, you know, one of my favorite characters in the show, and I like the arc that he's on, and I like what they were trying to do here. But it just,
same.
Yeah, it just didn't really.
It was close. It came close.
It came close. I needed more setup with Like I needed something more than just encountering. Because even encountering the sun and like all the complex lies, like that's all good. That's in some ways like that's a lot of the great layered storytelling of what you can do over the course of several seasons. But you know, I'm like, seems like we're on the same page of like great idea, poor execution. But was kind of thrilling to watch regardless.
Yeah, same.
Which is often much of The Boys. Great idea and execution, but like very thrilling to watch, which is really the show in a lot of encapsulation.
We've already talked a little bit about the sort of climax, right? Which is Homelander beating the crap out of his son. I have to say, pretty chilling scene.
Yeah.
Pretty chilling scene. Like, you know, like really well done. And you know, whenever any show can make you feel something, you know, it's a success. And this show really chilled me to my core a little bit when we see Homelander brutally and remorselessly beat his son almost to death. It just and by the way, I feel like Butcher is almost equally responsible, you know, because he kind of drove him into that situation. He was so cruel, and maybe I do wonder if Butcher's going to learn some kind of lesson from this. You know, that I hope that does happen. But anyway, yeah. So one of the scenes that people will be remembering for a long time in The Boys is Homelander. Hurt people hurt people. right? And Homelander has gotten completely dumped on and being told he's a disappointment by Soldier Boy, and who, by the way, is like sleeping with Firecracker to kind of get back at him in this episode, and that doesn't really work.
That scene was pretty good.
Yeah.
Their flirtation and then sex scene were a highlight of this episode. But even here, where the Homelander ruthlessly attacking his son to the brink of death is upsetting. You know, it comes back to back with Soldier Boy's dead. No, he's not. Homelander killed his son. No, he didn't.
Right.
Like, and there's same way with you know, like now Homelander's going after V1 to potentially have more plot armor. Like there's too many like fake outs happening.
I
Like,
agree.
Huey's dead. No, he's not. And it's like, come on, show. Like we're in the final season. I get that you probably want to have most of the impact happen in like the final couple. I get it, but the constant, it takes out some of the stakes of the emotional beats and potential character deaths. And when across 3 episodes, like almost on a per episode basis, we're getting like one fake out from the show.
I agree completely. I think if Soldier Boy had died last episode, or if Ryan had died, you know, Homelander's son had died this episode, like one of those deaths needed to be real for me to really feel like the show is playing for keeps. But yeah, anyway, I'm also unhappy with the fake outs, and I hope the fake outs stop soon. I do suspect that they will. Hey everyone, David Chen here. Thank you so much for watching that video from Decoding TV. If you want to get an audio version of the show, all you got to do is go to podcast.decodingtv.com. And if you want to support what we do, get ad-free episodes of the podcast and also bonus episodes of the podcast, go to decodingtv.com and become a paid member. Of course, you can also like and subscribe for more. We appreciate it. Thanks. See you later.